Everything you need to know about Rainbow Six Siege High Caliber. Hey everyone, Marty here, the Unicorn Werewolf, and today I wanted to do a video about the new season of Rainbow Six Siege, as I just mentioned, high caliber, and I don't know if I'll ever get away from wanting to say Operation. I miss Operation, but they've taken that out and moved away from it. So this is year six, season four, and at the end of this video, I'm going to give some thoughts about the future of Rainbow Six Siege and where I see this thing going and what you can learn from it, most importantly. So, have some notes from Six here. Dr. Harry. Thorn's inner defenses are strong, but they are thankfully far less perilous than our outer ones. So, uh, I might also do a personality typing video. But anyway, Thorn is an Irish defender, and they had some pretty interesting things to say about her lore and backstory and personality and that kind of things, which I might cover in a later video. But she's getting a new weapon called the UZK 50 GI, and I was listening to the reveal yesterday, and they said this was chambered in 50 caliber, so it makes big holes in the wall, kind of a slower fire rate from what I understand, and also she's getting the um, GSG9 shotgun as a primary as well. So those are your two options. She has the deployable shield and barbed wire, and the 1911 and the C75 sidearms. And you can see Mira's comment here about her razor bloom shell. It's once triggered. Thorn's razor bloom shell gives you just enough time to rethink all your life's decisions. So basically, the way it works, the way it looks like it works, is they're gonna make me do age verification here, but you throw it, it sticks on mostly anything, and it's in this blue state. Once it's triggered, it turns red, and it looks to have about a 2 to 3 second delayed fuse before it blows up. So as the attacker, you can keep pushing through and try and take minimal damage. You can back up but give away your position. You can try to shoot it, or you can just stand there, stand your ground, and do what you can on the way out, is how it was described. Outback. So this has been a long time coming. The thing about Outback that people didn't like were there was, too few areas where attackers could enter the map, and they had to go through a window or a door, which is a recipe for certain death as an attacker. And it wasn't that was something that the community displaced community relayed some displeasure towards. The other thing was, as a defender, the sites were pretty impossible to hold down in an anchoring type of place and just have a roamer or two. Instead, it was a very roamer heavy map, and just those certain factors made it not fun to play. So they had some updates to it, and they've the biggest change that I saw, the one that stuck out to me, was the second floor covered terrace area. It's now an interior area that connects the mezzanine and the piano room. It used to be that area that was outside, and you have the shark mezzanine window to the left, and you have the door that leads into the laundry room games area, aka piano. And that was just a weird spot to navigate. I didn't hate it because of its, it was so unique, but there has been a trend of these areas that used to be outside are now being turned into a rotation area or some connector area that's inside now. That's a trend that's been repeated over this past year. Um, the restaurant in the front is 2 rooms now, and the garage has been reworked. And from the looks of it, it looks like you'll be able to, both on the attacker and defender sides, use cover more effectively, have a little more cover. So that's cool. They announced this with the test server. So there's like the seasonal one, which is going to be what's going to be releasing whenever it comes to the live game only. Because, back in North Star's test server, there were a lot of people that got overwhelmed because we got all the big changes coming from the new season, and they were testing out Drone After Death at the same time, and it was just too much of a change too soon, and people lost their mind. So what they've done is they're splitting the test server up into 3 different test servers throughout the season. The first being the seasonal one, which we're going to get into today. The lab one, where they test these features that are early in development. And then there's going to be a mid-season balancing patch before that comes to the live server testing stuff. So 3 very distinct and unique purposes of the test server being put on display. So that's a really cool thing. And they said coming soon in the next year, you are going to be rewarded for participating in the test server and R6 Fits 2.0, which leads me to R6 Fits 2.0 right here. And they've made it a whole lot better, so it's a lot easier to, if you find a problem in the game, communicate that directly to the developers in a constructive way, instead of doing what those guys do and go on Twitter and get developers who work hard on bringing you the best version of the game possible to shut down their Twitch accounts because they're receiving so much hate over stuff. So don't be one of those guys, which of course I know you're not, but just to throw rots at them any chance I get, I'm going to. Team colors, you now have some control over that. It doesn't look to be extensive, but it is customizable for now as far as setting. Team colors can be changed between blue, red, and orange. So however you want to think about that, however that goes. And it's now referred to your team and opponents instead of blue team versus orange team, just as a clarification. Elite 2.0 is out now. And whether that's you can customize the entire uniform and the card color and what card you show, etc. on that. So highly customizable. And we're getting these new exotic weapon skins that look like Destiny guns, and I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it personally, but it's not going to take it's not going to take away from my experience of the game either. It's like, if you like it, put it on there, or not. It doesn't make a difference. Operator price decrease. Certain operators are going down, so by their normal formula. Player comfort. As you can see, the Lord Chachanka here curled up to a fireplace with a blankie on. I'm kind of envious of him right now. It's a little cold up here. But defenders now have access to a drone counter on the HUD. So tremendous HUD improvements. And that was the unfortunate thing with one of the developers, is they've gone to great lengths to make things more intuitive, more easy to read, all the information you need to know in one spot. They made big changes to the compass, which I can't wait to have access to that and see, because now you can tell height differences, as far as what ring it's in on the compass, you can tell if it's above you, below you, or on the same level. So that is really cool and useful thing to have. Player privacy, a new privacy section and option menu allows players to adjust settings related to in-game privacy. So I saw some good things on that. Finka changes. She can now use the adrenal surge to revive herself, and a lot of you might be saying to yourself is like, didn't they just get rid of withstand from Zofia? And yes, they did, but this is a different mechanic. And the argument was this. And personally, let me just say, I was one of the ones that didn't really have a problem with withstand on either Zofia or Tachanka. My mindset was, oh, I down you. You want to get up again? I'll put you down again. That was my thought process. But it really upset a lot of people. And it upset them because it was based on lore reasons, or like they're inexplicably tough, so they can stand up after being shot and no one else can, and things of that nature that made the game more confusing for beginners to understand. It's not so bad if you've been with the game from its inception, but just coming in fresh, it's like that makes no sense. So the thing that makes Finka different is this is part of her primary her special gadget. Just like Doc being able to pick himself up with his gun since he's a healer. Therefore, by that reasoning, so should Finka. And then they took away the recoil boost because one of the things that I heard people just crying all over the place was Finka would hit her adrenal surge at an inopportune time, and you go from having recoil to having no recoil. And people would just like look at the ground because they're used to pulling down hard on the mouse or on the controller or whatever. And so that is gone, and the cooldown is increased from 20 seconds to 10 seconds. So that's not a bad trade-off. And you can still pick up your teammates with it as well. The cameras outside, they all have 10 seconds before they lose connection. Bulletproof cameras can now rotate and fire the EMP burst, so that's coming now. That was talked about earlier in the year. Cameras lose signal after 10 seconds. The angle grip has been slowed down by 20% less than it was before. That means more strategic gameplay and less run and gun is what that means, so hooray. Some changes to recoil on controller. I really can't speak to it because I haven't played this game on controller in several years now. But first win of the day bonus, that's cool. Battle point booster can stack now. Disabled state for electronic gadgets. Let's see what this is. Created more consistent scoring and warning messages. Operators' access to observation tools has been normalized. Previously, the access was only blocked for attackers. Now it is blocked for defenders too. So I guess that means if you get EMP'd as a defender, you can't look at your phone. Maybe, possibly. Yana, Finka, Lion, Dokubi, Warden's unique abilities cooldown timer is now paused while being short-circuited. Same with Jackal. Same with Dokubi. Attackers affected by disabled state won't receive Finka's adrenal boost anymore. So I hadn't thought about that on top of mind, how adding an EMP to the defender sides that EMPs the attackers would affect them, but this is giving you the lowdown for it too. So that's what you need to know. Testing grounds playlist. So no squad restriction. Join in progress is enabled. No leaving penalty. Pro League map pool, new reworked map with a higher chance of appearance, no map ban, operator ban enabled. New and reworked operators can't be banned. Midst of unranked and quick match settings, so that's cool. Grenade indicator, operator auto pick, an esports notification added when there's an ongoing match. That's helpful because there was a time when I was like closely keeping up with Rainbow Six Pro League, and then life happened, things changed, and then now I keep a loose eye on it. So that's helpful to know whenever there's a big match that you might want to see going on. New visuals for alpha packs. Behavior of esports packs have been adjusted so that instead of duplicates, it'll give out battle pass points. Switch fire mode is now removed, so no more semi-auto 3-round burst, full auto ability except for Zofia and Capital with their special gadgets. Player privacy, prevent queue sniping, hidden matchmaking delay, region latency. So basically what came in at the start of the year that everyone cried about and then they got rid of it, which it would have been great because the thing was a lot of people were like, this doesn't help me at all as a streamer who everybody knows what my username is and people can see me when they're playing the same game, which I understand. But for guys like me, there was protection a little bit. I mean, obviously people could have done some research and found and did it if they really want to, but I'm not in the big enough streamer category yet where that's really turned into an issue yet. But it did protect me from dumbass usernames. And it's sort of, if I had a point to make, I shied away from making it if I had to call out a username by the username because I didn't want to give them any more airtime or attention. It would have been, a whole lot easier to do if it was like Alpha or Bravo, Charlie, etc., whatever that code name system is. That way you could clown on them all you want to and you never have to call their name. So I'm glad to see that's back, and I know that it's coming back, or a new iteration of streamer mode is coming, and they're working on it and going to be doing limited release to some of the bigger content creators before it comes out, but it is coming soon. Not sure where they talk about that. Quick look at the win delta. The big outliers to me, outliers being above 50%, maybe even 40%, you can make an argument for, but Yana's a little too overpicked and overpowered still. But she's the most, and it's not as lopsided as we've seen before. Twitch is also up there. The fast fire rate, if people spend a lot of time with the F2, it's not that big of a deal. It's a good. Both of these two are the current ranked hero operators. It's concerning to see Monty and Blitz underpicked and underwin as much as they are. But there hasn't been a nearly universally agreed on fits for shield operators that make them both look actually statistically and going off of frustration and feel like they are like they fit fairly into the game. And you can see that with Clash down here. She went I don't know the comparison, but she's way down here. Tachanka's still way down here. Jaeger, interestingly enough, very, very overpicked, but weak in comparison to win rate. And Alibi looking to be the one that's the most balanced out of everybody right now. So that's something to go off of. Always, whether something becomes too overpowered or too underpowered, like it's going to happen because of the nature of the game. I like going through these different iterations, even as something that's quote unquote broken or whatever. I get why pro players get bent all out of shape for it, but other than that, man, just go with it. Bulletproof cameras, rotate, and EMP. No notion of ownership on there, so unlike operator abilities. The drone counters there, player colors, operator balancing. So the Goyo rework has been delayed is basically what that says. We talked about Finka. Valkyrie and the outdoor cameras. The Defender's gadgets have 10 seconds outside now before they disconnect, which is a really nice compromise, given that the problem with Valkyrie was you could throw out a camera, get some information, and make it impossible for the attackers to actually find your camera and find where they're getting spotted from and, get free kills. And it's super frustrating for some people. So if you do throw them outside, you have 10 seconds to get what you're going to get and then do your business. Same with any other outdoor camera on Defenders. You can pull up your viewing device for cameras that are in transit right now, like Zero's cameras and Valkyrie cameras too. Slow down angle grip. Alright, there was that. And then there was one more article I wanted to go over with you guys, and it was the streamer mode update. So we're working on 3 fronts: preventing stream sniping with options that are on the Rainbow Six Siege dev team side. Options will prevent malicious players from using another player's live stream to gather information and get an unfair edge or act in a disruptive manner to sabotage and harass the streamer. Again, haven't ran into that yet, but it's a big time problem for the ones who have. Controlling and limiting the data shared from your account to third-party sites, apps, overlays, and ensuring the protections from account data and game telemetry are respected by those third parties. So you can go to matchmaking delay and region latency. That's available at Year 6 Season 4 launch. And then this stuff you can set a nickname now. You can appear as you instead of your name, and you can hide other players. So that's good too. That's all stuff that I'm gonna put on because all the stuff that goes on in chat and names on the screen and different things like that are just unnecessary to the experience and not something that I as a streamer necessarily want to pass on to my viewers. I want to, automatically kill as much toxicity and negativity as I can, because as a content creator, as a business owner, as somebody who's health minded, you just have to stand guard at your mind, and that includes what you see, what you hear, etc., etc. So you'll never you'll never completely eliminate toxicity from your life, but this is one of those opportunities to where you can limit it as much as you can. Legal action, exploring consequences for entities that undermine our efforts to respect players' personal data and game telemetry. That I'm not saying right. People access our data for community must abide by our rules and guidelines. So I don't know if that's a loud bark or if they're for real on it, but at least they're saying something. So we'll see what happens. And the release plan is they're rolling it out gradually, and it'll be ready soon. You know, I'd rather them take their time with it. I know there's a lot of people chomping at the bit for it, but as far as the game itself goes and the longevity goes, they're talking about next year, and they're putting the streamer mode in 6 years in. They've spent all year working on it. The way they keep innovating on the game, and the way they keep making the changes to the game that keep it fresh, that keep it interesting. Rainbow Six Siege isn't going anywhere anytime soon, and there are a few people who are so loud because of their negativity out there, and all I can say is, like, if you're going to be like that, if you can't take a step back and look at over the years what they've done with this game and how they've improved it and how they continue to show up and do things, and that's all you can ask for. If you don't understand that, then you're getting it wrong, and I guarantee you're probably unhappy in other areas of your life as well. But I would just say, on this note, this is what you can learn from it. And I'm speaking to content creators out there specifically right now, but maybe you don't want to be a content creator, but you have something that you want to give to the world. You want to contribute in a meaningful way. Rainbow Six Siege was, one of the first of its kind, really, with being a live game as a service. At least it might not have been the first, but it was one of the first successful ones. And month by month, season by season, they're collecting data and getting feedback and adjusting and collecting and adjusting, and stuff comes out. Sometimes it's broken, sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes something's too overpowered or underpowered, or it causes a problem unforeseen, and they listen, they do what they can. It might not always be on your timetable when they do it, but they're doing it. And if you've ever owned a business or been in that sort of situation, you understand that there's levels of importance on different things. From, is it a minor annoyance, or is this like very noticeable, or is this flat out game breaking? It's like being able to categorize those things in terms of urgency and importance, one word at a time. So if you start treating your business, if you start treating your message, if you start treating your memberships and merchandise and other things that you're trying to sell right now as a live game, as a service, you're going to get to where you're going to go. You're going to encounter trolls no matter what you do. I mean, the fact that one of the developers had to delete their social media account because they were getting lambasted and bombarded over a change in the user interface of the game when that person probably has spent the last few months to last year losing sleep over this thing and just doing what they can to make the improvements and make it better. You're going to run into those people, but just know they don't matter. That's not who you're talking to. There's two different types of criticism. There's just the self-righteous haters that you don't listen to. You know, that would be those people. But then there's the ones that actually voice things that it has some truth to it. Maybe they just need work on their delivery. Maybe they did it at the wrong time, but there's still something to learn from it. That kind of criticism you do have to listen to, but you don't have to take it personally. So know the difference on that too. So anyway, if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and come and hang out at twitch.tv/unicorn werewolf with me live. Let's enjoy some Siege, and let's talk about how we can grow and build together. So see you guys there.